On. How's it going, everybody? I'm back here with my lovely boyfriend Heiko,
Hello.
and we're doing the next video of an artist looking at the. I just almost said Black Widow. We just finished the Black Panther one. An artist looking at the Marvel Rivals character designs, and this one is going to be a Black Widow.
All right. This one's already just fun right off the bat because you can kind of see like spider leg design in the red and orange on her suit, and then kind of mirror that on her legs. Like it just feels like a spider. And it also does the red does a mirror of the hourglass design too across her chest and hips and things, just like on her belt. So that's really fun. Yeah, I had to like lock in here and look at some of the smaller details on her suit because there's like just little bits of hints in red and orange just here and there, and I'm just trying to study where they've kept them all, but they're very ordered. It's like, like across the chest, neck, and like straight line across the shoulders and neck. Then there's like another line that lines up with her arms, but also lines up with her belt. So it's like another line on her body.
Stop doing that, Natasha. We're trying to look at your costume.
And then, so you got like red fingertips as well. And then, yeah, the hair's fun idea for her too. Give a little cartoon swish. Actually not sure what her comic books version actually looks like.
It's mostly just regular long hair.
Just regular long hair, yeah. So yeah, it's a fun stylization to bring this character, which it's like kind of a thing they've been doing with a lot of the characters in here, but it's a fun way to make characters that otherwise have maybe a less remarkable design, because there's been a lot of, especially like just in general, some characters that look kind of similar. So we've seen a lot of women with long hair, we've seen a lot of men with like certain body types, so that's just a fun way to make her stand out and have a bit of more of a personal identity when compared to other characters in the series.
It would take so much product to get her hair to do that.
But she's Black Widow. She could probably do it.
Hey, when you're 200 years old, you gotta have some hobbies with your appearance.
Yeah. And this one, I've talked to some other ones about like the color families and how they kind of usually match them. In this one, they did a contrast instead, because most of her design is the red and orange, which are warm. And then so when they did the grays, most of the grays are in the cold families. So they're more of like a blue gray, which they can do here because now this is like making a contrast because the other two colors match so well. Then the third, part of their color scheme is now a contrasting color. I didn't get as much look at her legs. We can zoom out a little bit. Yeah, they kept the legs pretty simple on detail and accents. There's like a couple of them, but they're, actually, I like how the knee accents kind of stand out more from the side than they do from the front. Because the front's really top heavy, like, to kind of show off some stuff. But when it's turned to the side, you kind of lose some of the other accents from the front as much. So they put, that little spot of orange doesn't stand out so much. Fun. What's the back of this costume looking like? Oh, the back of the arm line is an interesting choice.
She looks like she's got more of like a mech suit on from behind.
Yeah, it like feels very cybernetic, which is, I'm not complaining. That's fun and cool. And it seems like go with like her gauntlet armor thing, which kind of looks it kind of reminds me of like a ammo belt or something like that.
She doesn't use it in gameplay, but that's her weapon, Widow's Bite, which shocks people.
Okay, so it's like it is like a weapon thing then.
Gotta love the G-string highlight.
Well, with Black Widow, they could only go so far before they got a little off track. That's okay. Some of the men, we just looked at Black Panther's vampire outfit, and they didn't have to go there, but they did. Like that one, it's continuing her belt too a little bit, but it is a little saucy.
Mm-hmm.
But there is some nice, almost like a nice jacket of orange detail from her emblem, from her shoulders to her shoulder blades, and then the lines behind her arms. that just is kind of like this nice orange-red jacket. And even that red stripe, like, is one you can't really see from the front on her neck. But, I mean, it's colored red on the inside, but it's, you know, more prominent here because it's now a part of the full design. And then, yeah. This one has got a lot of the lines that they use in some of the other designs where they're using the lines to accent, like, anatomy, like rib cages and muscle groups and things. Which she has a little bit of, but it's not used as, like, it's used in bigger shapes than some of the other costumes. Some of the other costumes, the line is the kind of what they're following, and in this one, they're more of like the entire shape itself. So instead, we're talking like more of like square versus a line. There's still a few of them, but like it seems like line is the primary driver, and like this one's more like the artist is looking at shape entirely, which I think makes sense for this design because they're clearly using the red accents to invoke some ideas about the hourglass shape and spider legs and things. So they don't want a bunch of line details to kind of detract from that already line detail. So I think they kind of went and decided to rely on shape a bit more in the gray and light gray areas.
I'm learning a lot about art design today, by the way.
I expect your stick figures in the morning.
All right, well, let's move on to her recolor, which I don't like, because she should not be blonde.
It's the blonde that shows you off.
Blonde Black Widow is wrong. It is incorrect.
Incorrect.
And I will not stand for this injustice.
Yeah, so regardless of that, this design is really following a lot with the red design, but it's pulling a lot of the purple into some of the other areas. I'm not sure that I'm as much as a fan of that because the other one was so clean with the one like red orange stripe down her costume, and this one is kind of muddying that a bit. It also changes like the shape so much that I'm not seeing spider as much anymore.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of other things because it's accenting certain areas. But yeah, spider not so much. I think if they had just kept to what the design had already, or maybe didn't go with the hips and over the boob accents, or not the hips, I meant ribs, over the ribs and then over the boob where that stripes are at. I think maybe if they had chose one or the other, or maybe none of them, I don't know. Like maybe it would have worked if it was from the back and then didn't connect, like a little kind of like two lines like coming from the back and pointing up. That could have looked cool. Oh, and I colored her little like sword cheese too.
Bisexual batons.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, like I pulled some more of that accent out on the back and over the belt area.
The robin's egg blue just doesn't pop with this costume.
Yeah. I actually kind of like the blue area up on the top a lot more than the purple sections. Like, I don't know, maybe like if they had put the blue with purple edges or something, maybe that would have looked cool. Because it would have looked kind of like a weird glow effect, which might have looked nice with this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and the title's Lethal Toxicity, I just noticed. Nothing about this color scheme really seems toxic. You know, it seems like more like a, you know, go out to the club kind of and rave type color scheme.
Yeah.
Or black lights and that sort of thing. So,
oh, black light's a good call, yeah.
Yeah, so like that doesn't scream like poison, death, you know, toxic or anything in that nature to me. So yeah, I'm going to put that one in the losing category. The blonde is wrong.
Yeah. All right, here's her Hellfire Gala outfit.
Ooh. Well, that one's fun. A lot of fun. Ooh, I like the cutout in the center where, because it took me a second and then I realized it's the Black Widow symbol.
The giant hourglass, yeah.
Yeah. And then they did a thing too where like they let more of the black show through on the neck, but it's the same kind of pattern. Calm down. We're trying to look at your belly. But do you see how it's like dark red because it's got like a overlay, and then the top half doesn't have that overlay?
Mm-hmm.
So that again, like some of the other male characters we've already looked at, we're drawn to look at the top half of her because it's the only one part that has that dark black. So in this case, like we've looked at a lot where like the brighter colors are bringing you to the top of the character, but in this one it's the lack of color, because the only part of the bright areas that are super dark in value. So this one is how light or dark the character is. So they're keeping all the dark value up at the top, and they're using it very sparingly on other parts of this character's design. Yeah, and then, gosh, this one got really fun, the accents. And it's backless. Well, that's fun. And I love the ponytail thing, too. I mean, it almost looks like, because you know, they already went with like kind of an otherworldly headpiece, too. But, you know, it's hair, but it's not, it doesn't look like hair almost. It's really fun. Let's have a zoom out.
Front or back?
Let's look. I'm looking at the front again, but let's look at the back. Just to see what's going on. Oh, nice. Yeah, that accent on the gold is kind of fun too. So it creates this really nice vertical line on her. Because if we're looking at a lot of the other elements, like the pauldrons are creating some horizontal visual lines, and you know, there's other stuff here that just feels very horizontally oriented. And then we have like the nice long ponytail. Then you have that long gold accent, and then it kind of tips back up because of that arrow shape. So then, you know, it's just pretty nice. Nice contrast between the different shapes and things. I was noticing on the front, so like we have that lack of detail on some of the gray areas, and then there's like a little bit on like, especially around that emblem part section. So like it's again like a lot of nice little balance between highly detailed and less detailed. There's actually a little bit of a mirror. I'll try to point it out. If you look, well, you guys stay zoomed out. I'll try to point it out. So if you look at the striping on her, that rib cage accent that makes the hourglass shape, it's like repeated lines. If you look down, turn it a little bit more sideways. Not a lot more sideways, just a little, just a tad. There you go. On her leg, those kind of vertical lines are kind of mirrored again on the side of her leg, but only the inside side of her leg. The outside section doesn't have that texture. You see what I'm pointing out?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the outside leg is smooth, the inside legs have that texture, so when you're at certain angles, like that's mirrored from that accent that's on the top side of the dress is mirrored down there, and it creates this really nice rhythm between the two sections. Because sometimes you can design a character this way, and you can make it where it's almost too top heavy. Like, you don't want people to like go look at the legs and be like, "Ooh, leg," you know, you don't want them to get visually stuck down there by too much detail. But sometimes you do want like an echo and like a callback. So it comes back, echoes that design, comes back up, and then supports the rest of the density on the top of that design. Because the ideal design for visual design and figuring that puzzle out and using all these tools and ideas is that your viewer is going to look at the thing you want them to look at, but not get so stuck there that their eye can't wander away and enjoy the rest of the picture. Yeah, so it's sort of like you're tricking them to be like, hey, look at this cool thing, but also there's some really nice stuff around it. So yeah, I really like this costume quite a lot. This one is, I mean, the other one is super strong. Her base is really strong, but this one's just really fun and super well designed.
All right, up next is the white suit from her MCU movie.
It sure is. Yeah. I kind of like her hair a lot on this one, though. It's like nice and flowy. Oh, there's even a braid in it. Yeah, a lot of texture. And nice gradient, too. Got like darker on the ends and lighter on top. Which is one of the things I love about the style on this game is everything is just so colorful and fun.
Yeah.
You know, as I say that as we look at an all-white suit, but you know. But even on an all-white suit, like where there is color, they decide to make it like really vibrant and, you know, it feels like a comic book should, where everything is just bright and punchy. I was even looking at like her buckle on there is like a really pretty shade of orange, which is like, I think that's not the brightest shade that could possibly go, but it really is, like, compared to with the other elements that they already included. It's just a very saturated in. That's another color thing, is like colors are generally as bright or dark as the colors around them. So this one probably just feels so nice and bright because all we have next to it is just white and gray and silver and nothing else. So there's really nothing else to compete with it. And that little type of orange accent is just complemented in the rest of the outfit. So we have a little bit on the pauldron. There's little details on her gun. But they knew not to stick it everywhere. It's really just there as just like a little piece of glitter almost. Because they knew this suit had to be all white and went with that.
She's also got silver lines evoking the hourglass on the front of her suit, I'm just noticing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And those, like, if we zoom out a little bit too, and get a bigger look at the rest of the outfit, we have like this little backpack thing she's wearing on her shoulders, because you can see the shoulder straps from the front. And so those shoulder straps also are creating this visual line. It's almost like a little jacket that she's wearing, but she's not having to wear.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like you said, the silver lines are going down. But before we go down and just like shoot off this, the whole character design and just like fall off, there's a belt in the way. So that belt creates another horizontal. So that breaks up some of those vertical lines. So we have belts, and then we have leg belt. And some of those are, and they're like following the shape of her leg. And because it's like superheroes, like a lot of these design choices are really just there to accent the athletic form of the body. So they're like really, trying to push that. Because if they just went like plain flat or just accented a few lines here, it would just kind of look like a suit. But by adding all those lines, we start feeling like, this is like a super body ready to go battle and do what a superhero does.
Mm-hmm.
And then, and like even there's some belts on her boots too, for more horizontal lines, but they're all monochromatic, which means they're all the same color.
I just noticed she's wearing platform heels into battle.
Her other suit had them too. I think it's part of her character design. They might be embedded in your bones. Let's see. We haven't looked at the back of this design quite yet. I kind of skipped past it because I was talking about verticals and horizontals.
Check out that cake.
Yeah, it's the high heels that accents things. But yeah, we have like fun details too, like the additional sidearm. And then, really, they're using some of the lines. This has a lot of cake though.
Yeah.
But I do like the mini backpack too, because it leaves room to like look at the shoulder blades and the arms. Especially because we're going to watch this character do a lot of their animations and motions to battle with the other characters. And she's such a small figure where I think that, that works really well. At least for this design, because this design, the suit is form-fitting, so we don't want something that's going to be so big that it's in the way. So yeah, I don't think I'm picking out anything else I haven't said already.
Okay. Well, let's move on to our last costume, which is from an Elseworlds 1886, I think, alternate universe, where she's married to Bucky Barnes. 1872, my bad.
Okay, that collar is really fun.
Yeah.
That's super fun. Oh my gosh. We need to go back into stylization for video games, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
That is so fun. And the texture is really nice. And yeah, we could start with the texture, because that fluffy collar that there is obviously got a echo of that texture with her fluffy chaps. And then to make it not all white too, they did like kind of a multicolor coat, which also makes a bit of what they call asymmetry, because a lot of these costumes, not all of them, but a lot of them are symmetrical. But this one, like the spots are a little bit different on each leg, so one leg is like a little bit more spotty.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes that can create a little bit of visual interest. And I think it also kind of supports her off-the-hip kind of pose in this one, too. Which I think all her other ones are kind of like this one. But this one's more Western-y. So, they want more of that kind of laid-back, kind of casual Western feel to it. Because she's not like a professional assassin. She's a Wild West. What are some of the other details I got on her? So, I see how they changed her electrical attack on this costume, because you can see a little bit of a particle effect. She's got a rope. She's thinking about it. And she's got 2 side arms. Does she ever pull out any of her holstered guns in gameplay?
No, the only things she uses are the sniper rifle and her batons, which is a shame. As cool as she is, she's got a very basic combat design and is the worst character in the game.
Oh no.
Yeah, she's got like a 39% win rate or something.
They should make her ult where she just pulls out all the weaponry. There'll be like guns from places you don't even see guns. It'll be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just more and more guns. That's the first solution. We need more guns.
A lot of the proposed reworks are to have her use dual pistols and her widow bites, as opposed to the sniper rifle, which is slow and clunky.
Yeah.
And loud.
That's like the opposite of what you want a sniper rifle to be. And yeah, I'm trying to stick out some of the other colors that we got going here. I think we have
the pink neckerchief is certainly a choice.
Yeah, I think that might have been like a spot color, because for the majority of this, we were having pretty much a warm versus cool color scheme. So we have like warm yellow, warm red shirt, and then we have like cool gray pants or pantaloons, blue jacket. And then the pink is really the only thing that's kind of jumping out of that color scheme a little bit. But I think it's because they have a lot going on, because it's a Western outfit. There's a lot of layers. There's a lot of belts and things to add on here. It could be easy to kind of get lost in where you should go. So the pink handkerchief is almost like a lighthouse in this visual design. Mm-hmm. Of like, if you get too lost, because there's a lot of textures and layers. There's like stripes on the shirt. There's the fringe. You know, if you get lost in all of this, come home and look at her beautiful face. Not her bosom. No, her face. I love the hair, too, on this design. Like, it's, like, swished back and there's, like, a little braid. Real shame that she's not a character that's easy to play. Yeah. This looks like such a fun costume.
Yeah, this is my favorite Black Widow costume.
Yeah. Even I feel comfortable looking at it. It's like, I want to wear that. That looks cozy. Yeah, and I think that might be part of the style to have a little bit of stray flyaway lines, because you can see a few of them on her collar on this model.
Oh yeah, you can. Yeah, that's just hovering.
Yeah, I think those ones might have been maybe emphasized than they intended, but from far away they probably look just fine.
Yeah.
Because we're so close, we're probably closer than they intended for this model. But yeah, that's like a part of the little additional details they use to make these feel like a moving illustration, is to use elements that look like illustration. So you have a little bit of stray, sketchy lines, and the textures support kind of like that color of, you know, some of it almost looks like it was colored with like a marker or something, or a paintbrush, because they just have a slight little bit of texture on some of the things they put in. Oh, I just noticed she has like embroidery on the back of her jacket too.
Oh yeah.
That's pretty. Yeah. This is one of those really busy designs, but I really love it.
It's good busy.
Yeah. And I think it's just because they controlled where their colors were. Like all the blue stuff, the hat and the jacket are only on the top. The warm yellow helps tie in the shirt, and it's only used on the cuff the collar and the pants.
Whoops, she glitched. She glitched. What you doing with that gun, Natasha?
When your sidearm is like several foot long rifle.
Whoops. Never seen that before. That's funny.
All right. I think I did talk through all this one. I just really enjoy the design, so I think we can...
This one's your favorite?
I think so. Oh gosh, the Gala one is so good too. Yeah. But I think the Western one is just so... It's one of those ones, there's so much going on, but it's so well done that we had to go with this one, I think.
I like her hat.
Because this is one with the amount of details and stuff, I think it would have been really easy to go wrong or have it look odd or something like that. But I think their color choices and the way they handled it.
The wild thing is this is her free skin for a special event that happened. Mm-hmm. All right, MVPs. This is her whoops. This is her default.
They knew that she had cake.
Yeah, it does emphasize it. Here's her white suit.
Yeah. Trying to make it feel a bit more like the movie.
Here's our Hellfire Gala one.
That was fun.
And here's her Wild West one.
Mystery and allure. Valley of Doom.
Yeah, that one's my favorite.
Yeah, that's fun.
All right, well, that's the Black Widow video. Join us next for Bruce Banner, the Hulk.
The Incredible Hulk.
See you in a sec.